Hey guys, it's your boy Pooh, and today we're looking at Fable 1, The Lost Chapters. Now, if you're unfamiliar, there's 3 different versions of Fable 1. Firstly, there's Fable 1, Standard. Then there's Fable 1, The Lost Chapters, which is the standard game with the added Lost Chapters expansion. And then there is Fable 1 Anniversary Edition, which is a remaster of the original game. The Anniversary Edition has gained some more popularity over the years. However, at its release, it was poorly rated, and I still believe it is a somewhat inferior product to the original game, at least the Lost Chapters version. However, we will speak of that later on in the video. Even if you have played Anniversary, or want to play Anniversary, it's still a close one-to-one experience, so you will not feel left out for the rest of the video, and it's still enjoyable. That being said, let's dive in. So, if you've ever heard of Fable, you likely know it for 3 key things. 1, its alignment system. 2, the humor. And 3, the voice lines. Whether you played it 20 years ago or 20 minutes ago, you hear the Guildmaster go,
"Your health is low. Do you have any potions or food?"
in your head all the time, or the West Country accent of the commoners just echoes in your mind.
Aw, chicken chaser. Look at the chickens run!
Chicken chaser? Do you chase chickens?
Chicken chaser! What a stupid name!
Now, in 2004, video games had been around for decades, at least in some form or fashion. However, they really only gained widespread popularity about a decade prior. But that was just enough time for some truly great games to come out. In fact, Fable was not the first game where choices mattered, or you could hire henchmen.
People here!
You look like someone who needed some muscle. You won't find anyone better than me.
Or buy a house, or marry, or customize a hero in hundreds of ways, or explore a vast world. However, it was the first mainstream game to let you do all of that at once, and more. At its inception, Fable was a groundbreaking experience, honestly. Developed by Lionhead Studios and created by Peter Molyneux, Fable had big shoes to fill. Its advertising campaign, along with the promises of its creator, was very ambitious. Too ambitious, really. You would really be hard-pressed to make a game with today's technology to keep all of their promises. However, that did not keep it from being one of the top-selling games on release, and in just over a year, it had sold 2 million copies. And in 2004, for a video game, that's insane. But I get it, because I was one of them. And at the time, I soaked it in and found it to be a fresh, compelling RPG where I could really make a difference in the game world and do just about anything. Then replaying it as an adult, it feels more cozy, it feels funnier because I get things more now, and while it's more limited in scope, it's still a pretty vibrant world, all things considered. Merchants travel between the towns, people haul crates and children play in the streets. The guards turn the street lamps off and on as the day-night cycle continues. When I re-beat it last month, I was impressed. And like I said, the humor really jumps off the screen. Now, the voice actors had a blast with the game. Like I said earlier, lines you hear get burned into your mind for your entire life. I must say, however, I am somewhat salty they had to modify Jack of Blades' voice. Now, I won't spoil anything, but Jack of Blades is a very key character. And in the original, his voice was soft and conniving, like a weasel or a snake.
I have returned. After an eternity away from you all, Jack of Blades is back. This arena is all that is great in Albion, and you all that is worthy in it.
In the updated Lost Chapters version, it's the same voice but modded to be deeper and more reverberating.
I have returned. After an eternity away from you all, Jack of Blades is back. This arena is all that is great in Albion, and you all that is worthy in it.
However, in the Anniversary, it's an entirely new voice.
There is an important quest card waiting for you at the bottom of a slime pit.
I'm still confused as to the reasoning why they modified it and then changed the voice actor, but there it is. Now, the premise of Fable is that you grow up in Albion, an almost offensively British land of various city-states connected through common trade and culture, surviving bandit raids and monster attacks. You are raised in the Guild of Heroes, sort of an academy that teaches disciples to be important figures of spell, sword, or bow, and it's your job to change the face of the country for good or ill. While called the Guild of Heroes, and they do seem to encourage a brighter morality, they won't stop you from choosing an evil road, and in fact, you can take contracts from bandits, assassins, and malevolent individuals to do just that. However, and I'm uncertain if this is only unique to my game, but when presented with two sides of the same quest, like say, protect the merchants or help the bandits attack the merchants, after I choose one, the other version of the quest will stay in the guild until the end of the game. I'm not certain why, but it does. There's also various unique aspects of the world, such as demon doors, which are sentient stone gateways that you must appease before being allowed entry past them, and they are usually hiding valuable items or key areas of the map. Your reputation, your choices, and even your combat multiplier can affect how a demon door perceives you, just like other characters. And this brings me to the game's mechanics. Now, this game is easy. It's straightforward, it has good tutorials, and the controls are intuitive. I will say that I played this game on keyboard and mouse because the converter I tried to find did not map well with my Xbox controller. However, while this game is made for controller, the keyboard and mouse approach was just as fun. That being said, I wouldn't worry even if that was not the case. If you are halfway decent at video games, it's a breeze. By mid-game, you're going to be an extremely formidable hero, and even before the late game, you become a juggernaut with how powerful your character becomes, and it's extremely difficult to not have all the potions and food you need in the world. So again, it's a pretty easy game. Now let's talk stats and equipment. While the game does a good job of explaining it all, here's the quick rundown. You have three main attributes: strength, skill, and will, will being magic. Within each attribute tree, you get to choose various upgrades. The more you defeat foes physically, you get strength points. The more you defeat foes with your bow or a light weapon, you get skill points. And the more you use your will, you get will points. The more points you use to upgrade your strength, the bigger muscles you get. For skill, it affects your height. And for will, your hair will grow grayer quicker, and you will develop runes on your body, at least if you upgrade will a lot. Now for equipment, and I'm going to talk about weapons very soon, but when it comes to armor, you have various different options. However, it seems that there's absolutely no reason to not get the heaviest armor possible. Now there are various things online that tell you that if you choose the robes of will, that it will either give you a defense against magic or it will add to your magic bonus. However, that doesn't seem to be the case, at least from the experiments that I have seen and I have done. It appears as if you get plate armor, it will not slow you down, it is the most protection, and the only thing it affects is if you choose light plate armor to showcase you are good and that people will feel more comfortable around you, or if you choose dark plate armor, which will add to your intimidation. Now, of course, you can wear whatever you want, and honestly, since the game is so easy, you might want to choose a lighter form of armor, or just choose different pieces of clothing just to make your look. However, if you want to max your defense, honestly, just get as heavy an armor as you can. Now for combat. Combat is simple and easy to learn, albeit it can be somewhat clunky. The biggest ways one tends to get damaged in combat is attacking before you're in range, and getting interrupted mid-swing. And while this sounds like a common, unimaginative criticism, every time I have failed to hit someone, it's not from them dodging me, but from miscalculating the reach of my weapon. That, and many enemies are not afraid of attacking when you attack. Even your alternate special attack, while you often feel like it's unstoppable, it is not. Enemies will attack you as you leap and swing and will not only cancel it out, but make you lose the bonus. Now we need to note, the same way Skyrim heavily incentivizes you to become a stealth archer, Fable does the same thing with the Magic Knight. Melee is the easiest form of combat, and there is no difficulty curve in learning or casting spells. you would be handicapping yourself to not buff up your melee skills with magic, yet you cannot use magic with everything, and you have limited mana, so naturally you'll do a mix as a magic knight. Now there is a third option, which is ranged attacks with bows and crossbows. However, unless you start the game and optimize your character for its usage with all of your experience upgrades, and buy a hireling or a henchman to keep enemies at bay, which is something you can do, choosing to predominantly be an archer is mostly a supplementary way of causing damage, although more on that later. Now the best melee weapons are swords, hands down. There are various weapon types, from axes to maces to even katanas, though the katanas look more like backswords mixed with cleavers. However, swords have the most damage, and no weapons have different effects, unfortunately. Like, if you use a mace, it does not work better against plate armor. It's not that kind of thing. Sure, if you augment your weapon enough or get a special weapon, your axe can be as good as a sword, but really getting a sword and augmenting it will be better damage overall. I think this is a glaring issue, at least if you care for damage per second, but I'll still use different weapons occasionally, and like I said, there are special, legendary weapons in the forms of axes and maces and katanas and stuff like that. But out of the baseline weapons, swords are king, and really you only need to decide on if you want to do light, one-handed weapons, or heavy, two-handed weapons. Though for the light weapons, one could argue there are some instances where the katana is best, but the longsword still seems to be the most effective. Ironically, though ranged weapons are secondary and mostly tertiary weapons in the game, they are still far more balanced. Speed over power, longbows. Power over speed, crossbows. Simple as. Now, I will say that while I won't say what it's called or exactly how to get it, there is a bow you can get relatively early in the game, probably around mid-game, that is the best ranged weapon in the entire game, and if you level up your archery even a moderate amount, it's a one-hit kill to most smaller mobs, and a two-hit kill for the tougher ones. However, even then, you usually fight at least 3 to 4 mobs at a time, and you'll need to dance around to keep yourself out of melee, even with that weapon. And this weapon is a particularly evil one, meaning you have to perform an evil act that I won't specify about to gain it. And this, of course, brings me to our alignment system. The morality system is a simple point system. If you are good, your hair is lighter in color, your eyes are blue, you even begin to have a glowing halo above your head, and people will love you. If you're bad, your skin grows mottled and veiny, your eyes turn red, flies buzz around you, and you even gain horns. Needless to say, people are frightened of your very presence. If you do a good deed, take on a good quest, or are even conscientious enough to eat tofu instead of meat, you get good points. If you commit crimes, attack innocents, take evil quests, or eat live baby chickens, you gain evil points. It's very straightforward, and there's plenty of ways to cheese the system. However, whatever you choose, it does have a few real effects to your game. Although I will say, be careful. There's a few small quests where things seem more gray than black and white, yet the game will still treat it as if it's an obvious good or bad decision. And it will penalize you for it. Like there's a quest in Oakvale, where a guard captain tells you to go and take care of an assassin hiding in a bandit camp. Yet, once you find the assassin, you find out the guard captain is his brother, just wanting the inheritance.
You haven't seen a group of guards around here, have you? Big, hairy fellows led by a real nasty piece of work. That bastard's been hunting me down for days. Can you believe it? My own brother wanted to kill me. I know we haven't always got on. I mean, he joined the bloody guards and I went a different way. But we're still brothers. We're not even that different. He's killed his fair share of people too, you know. I know what he's thinking. Mother's ill again, and he's never been able to convince her to write me out of her will. Besides, who's going to question a guard who brings down an assassin?
However, if you kill the assassin, you still get good points, and if you kill the guard, you still get evil points. So the moral quandary that's presented to you is just not given its due. Sure, he is an assassin and does kill people for a living. However, the guard is clearly as evil as him, but he's still on the, quote, good side, so if you want good points, you need to side with the guard. Now for the question on your minds, what are the differences between Fable: The Lost Chapters and Fable Anniversary? So there's a list of smaller differences. In Fable: The Lost Chapters, you get the original gaming experience, along with the extra content of the expansion. With Anniversary, the graphics are updated, yet there are some poor lip flaps, and has a blurry FXAA filter. The colors are somewhat muted or entirely different, and the art style has also changed somewhat. And there's small differences like, at the beginning of the game, when you're a child, you meet a small girl in your home village named Emily. In Fable: The Lost Chapters, or hell, just Fable 1, you can grow up and marry her as an adult. A lot of fans love doing that for the thematic storytelling. However, in Fable Anniversary, she is removed from the game after your prologue, and you never see her as an adult. So she's just removed from the whole game. And in Fable: The Lost Chapters, there's something called the Hero Save Exploit. Let me read it from the wiki itself. The save state exploit is a side effect of the game's saving system that allows the player to take advantage of the way Fable forces you to go back to the start of a quest, rather than continuing where they left off. Because of this save system, the game often carries over the player's inventory and experience points after the saving of the game, even though it is going to put them back to the start of the quest anyways. Due to this oversight, it is possible for the player to abuse their saves during most quests in the game to obtain more items and experience than they are supposed to receive. To perform this glitch, simply get to a point in a quest where you have items that you want to keep, and then save your game. Once you load your game, you should still have the items and experience points that you had before saving the game, despite continuing the quest at an earlier point. So, a lot of Fable players love using this glitch to 100% the game, but that glitch is removed in Anniversary. So again, there's various smaller changes like that, and though Anniversary did try to mitigate it with a few new weapons and apparel, most fans aren't huge into even those new additions. Though still, if you have Anniversary, don't fret, it's still a great experience. These are just nitpicks for if you have the choice between them. I should also say that if you were playing on PC, Anniversary maps very well with a controller. Now to our last bit of fun. Sex and marriage. No, unfortunately, you cannot change the sex of your character. In Fable 1, you can only be male. However, in Fable 2 and 3, you can change to female. Yes, you can do both sex and marriage, though.
Yes!
Are you real or a dream?
Whatever is tastiest.
Yeah.
Give me some beer.
Another one? Hooray!
The archaeologist has been taken!
Hooray!
In fact, there's a brothel in-game where you can have sex with various women in order to get through a demon door. Of course, the game is not rated M. This isn't some hentai game. It fades to black and you can only hear some giggles for a few seconds. So to any gooners out there, sorry about that, but that's just how it is. Once you're halfway through the game, your heroic reputation and physique will make getting multiple wives an easy task if you want more than one. Just make certain they don't bump into each other. Without a doubt, the amount of women that will want you will kind of start getting annoying, or they'll just be in the background just kind of lusting after you. And yes, even the men will begin to harbor romantic feelings for you, albeit at a lesser rate. Now, I won't specify too much about what the Lost Chapters portion holds, because that is an expansion and that coincides with the ending of the first game. However, it does bring in a whole new area to explore, and some more lore, and a few neat game mechanics that I think are very fun. Anyway, that's everything I'll say today about Fable: The Lost Chapters. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, liking and commenting really helps the algorithm, and so does sharing my video on social media or to your friends. I would really appreciate that. Subscribing always helps. And if you're about to play Fable, no matter what version, I hope you have a really fun time because it's a great game. Okay guys, have a good one, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
I see you've brought me a gift. This disciple should be the one who meets my maker.